Ah.
On this. The music?
That's nice. I like that. Oh, that's very nice.
Perfect.
Zach, you've got books now,
I like the books.
right?
Thank you. I can
A lot of nice books.
make it even more scholarly. Here we go.
Yeah, that's very nice.
Oh, I need my books. Should I go sit in front of my books?
We can do that halfway through.
Oh, okay.
Do you have books? You probably have a pile of books behind you. It's funny. We've
I have books right there.
Yeah, no, I like what you have behind you.
Okay.
Folks, thank you so much for joining. This is week 2 of Posthoc Salons, and the second On the Mind salon that I am co-hosting with Zach Williams. Today, our guest is Lisa Birnbach. Welcome, Lisa. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Yeah, Lisa is an author of many books. What are you guys doing right now? You should probably be writing a book. This is the time to write your book. Lisa has written many. She is a social commentator. She's funny. She's a wit.
We'll see.
We'll see. and she's an old family friend, a friend of Zach's. So welcome. I'm just really sitting in with you guys, and I'm going to get to know more about both of you.
I think we're all going to learn that I am a compulsive face toucher. I think that's I've heard rumors of such a thing, but I just noticed that I did it once. So I'm going to be sort of quietly, while learning about you, Susan, and while chatting with my friend Zach, I will be mindful of face touching. Because when
you said that, I thought you meant touching others people's faces.
Wow.
That is extremely unusual.
No, but, we're not supposed to touch our own faces. So maybe partway through the show, I will put on a mask. Who knows? I could do something just kind of madcap like that.
Well, that's what we're supposed to be doing now, is putting on masks in our day-to-day, right?
I live in the epicenter.
Yeah.
So yes. So
where are we talking to you from? Where are you speaking to us from?
Ground zero. I'm right.
You're the big round circle.
Right. Radiating with red spores. I am in Manhattan, a place I have not experienced much lately. I've been basically homebound since March 14th. Who's counting? I am. And the situation is very different. But today, while there were very, very few people out on the street, there were quite a few cars on the road. So,
where are they going? They're heading out? They're not going to Nantucket, that's for sure.
They can't get to Nantucket. I happen to know that people are going to Martha's Vineyard, even though that's not really cool. New Yorkers are basically shunned everywhere now. We are forbidden from going to Rhode Island, and not many people really want to go to Rhode Island. But
yeah, that's the worst thing.
And by the way, now that we can't go there, how much do I want to go there?
You really want to go, yeah.
Yeah.
I want to go there. Well, I went to college there, so I would know all the closed restaurants. But anyway,
is there there's an overwhelming need to visit Brown right now?
I'm not sure if it's just Brown or if it's just annoying too. I think, first of all, Rhode Island is saying, look, I touched my nose again, counting twice.
That's one. We have a little counter in the corner.
Yeah, I wish we could. You'll let me know. I think Rhode Island is saying, we know we're not a primary destination. We know that we are a place that you stop to use the bathroom on your way to Boston.
Oh, I see. They're like, don't think that you're important.
You're using us and we don't want your cooties. I think that's the message from the governor of Rhode Island.
Yeah, you know who I'm missing during this time, who would probably be a force of
Buddy?
Good? Buddy Cianci.
How do you know about Buddy?
I don't know who this is. You guys have to tell me.
Do you have the context, Susan? Do you know? Do you know who Buddy Cianci is?
Who?
Buddy Cianci.
No, tell me. No.
Buddy Cianci, may he rest in peace, was the mayor of Rhode Island, the mayor of Providence.
Right.
Okay, so mafioso?
You don't use that word in Rhode Island.
You don't say that. Okay.
You don't use that word in Rhode Island, and I'm sure you didn't mean anything by it, right?
By it.
No, you meant no disrespect.
You meant no disrespect. Buddy Cianci, before he became the mayor of the city of Providence, was a house painter. But you know what?
The best of it were.
He had great dreams for Providence. And, you know,
the mayor there.
You know what? Maybe being a house painter is good practice for being a chief executive of a city, because he did amazing things. He may have, let's say, moved the Providence River. Yes, he moved a river. I don't like it there. Move it there. He moved the river. He rebuilt downtown Providence. He got the first shopping mall into Providence. When I went to college there, you really had to go to Boston or New York to buy something to wear. He changed all of the city, but he had a little problem. He had a temper. And when his wife, by the way, I met the Ciancis numerous times, and I had the pleasure of introducing Mrs. Cianci, whose name, and I swear this is true, was Nancy Ann.
Nancy. Amazing.
It's beautiful. Nancy Ann had, I think she had a boyfriend, but I think that's only because Buddy was such a babe magnet. He looked like a little bowling ball with a toupee, but he, Power is very sexy, and Buddy found his wife's boyfriend somewhere, and I believe he put his cigarette out in the man's palm, which wasn't really good for his career as mayor. And he eventually, for many, many reasons, went to jail. But after he was released from jail, he won re-election with a very high plurality because Rhode Islanders love Buddy.
Yeah, that's the type of leadership we need in this time. That's what I'm thinking.
You know what? It is leadership.
Yeah,
and I
would imagine he would be running for president right now.
Oh yes.
He'd be the mayor. When was he mayor?
Who was the mayor?
When was he mayor?
Oh, he was the mayor in the late 70s and 80s and maybe even 90s. He was beloved. And then after he no longer could run for mayor, he had a very popular call-in radio show. Ask Buddy or the Buddy or whatever.
My first job, when I would come back to Connecticut in the summers, and I lived at the Rhode Island end of
near Stonington or something.
Yeah, near there. Yep, New London. Less charming, a little bit less charming than Stonington, but strong with the mafia and a lot of Providence ties. I'm just
the mafia.
I'm just saying what my mother told me. So my first job was that was who my boss was. Apparently, it was well connected in Providence, and I scooped ice cream, and then I scooped ice cream with that same boss with the Providence connections at on a nuclear submarine base in Groton, Connecticut. Yeah.
Well, you were probably a very good scooper. Just anybody gets to scoop an electric boat in Groton, Connecticut.
For the Trident submarine ship workers.
Did you have security clearance to scoop?
I did not have security clearance. I did it right at the gate, and my big boss owned both the ice cream place, which I manned woman's alone, in a 1955 outfit, and he also owned the diner right next door. So, of course, it was dead quiet, except for when the 8,000 men would come off, and it was all men. And then the 8,000 men would go onto the shipyard. And that summer I worked there, they found, I think, at least 2 people on America's Most Wanted. Anyway, that's...
Wow.
What was your first job, Zach?
Well,
wait.
we actually discussed this. I worked at a fish
But
store.
Lisa might not know. So
Define job. No, wait. What? Do you have a secret job that I don't know about?
Me now?
Yeah. No. Did you?
Did I? No, I worked at a tropical fish store.
You did?
Yeah, for a period of time in high school.
No kidding.
Definitely. What about you?
Well, my first job, very boringly, was babysitting. And also I taught somebody guitar for $3 a lesson for an hour.
Were you good?
No.
Okay.
But I was good enough.
Yeah.
And it was the younger sister of a friend, and she liked me. So, but my favorite early job, now you have to picture a very nerdy, the word nerd wasn't even, I was just kind of a loser in a private school uniform. A little girl with very knobby long legs, very shy, glasses and braces, tweed skirt, penny loafers and knee socks. And I was somehow given the great honor of handing out flyers for a head shop / leather store on Lexington Avenue called the Rocking Horse Bootery or something like that.
And what is it now then?
Oh, now it's probably a Panko Tidian or something, but it was a place of suede and fringe. And what possible idea went through their head when they saw this little girl with braces, glasses, uniform?
How long was the skirt?
Short, but they made me wear a full-length purple suede fringe coat over it.
Oh.
What the disconnect, and all that was also a $3 an hour job. So, it was very lucrative. But
well, that's like $70, maybe more an hour now, yeah? Or
I think it'd be like $4 an hour now.
Now
but no, it was not a lot of money, but it was, I was a kid and it seemed like a lot of money. What? $3?
Yeah.
But all I remember was, since it was on the Upper East Side, I remember thinking, what if my headmistress sees me? I'll die. Oh. I should have thought, what if anyone my age sees me? I'll die. But I only cared about authority figures.
Has that changed?
No.
Yeah.
I'm still very afraid.
Speaking of fear and being afraid, how are you managing during this time? I'm not saying you're fearful or anything, but I'm curious.
I mean, I'm much better than some people and much worse than others. I think I fall in the middle for New Yorkers. First of all, a lot of my friends have skipped town. They're at their country house, not Rhode Island, but they're in their house, and I won't even say they're in places that probably are much more comfortable. I know they can walk to the beach. I know they can take a bike ride. I know they're not in danger of seeing a whole lot of people. They're having they're claiming not to have a good time, but I think they're very relaxed compared to how we are here in the city. First of all, there's a neighbor downstairs on the floor beneath me who has tested positive for COVID-19. There's somebody in the building to my north and to my south who's tested for COVID-19. COVID-19 is everywhere. And as we learned today from Governor Cuomo, we're going to flatten the curve, I guess, but then there's going to be rebound COVID. So I am trying to be kind of normal, but I've never been normal. But I mean, I'm drinking a lot. I'm finding it hard to be very motivated to finish things. But today's the day. Because of you guys, I decided I would be a much more directed, doing it type of person. I can't even think of the words for that. There are words for those.
You got it. Directed, doing it type of person.
Doing it type of person. That is really, that's sad. That is a new low for me.
Do you find yourself inspired at any point, or seeking to create or have aspirations to do something about all this? I'd love to hear your take on this all.
Well, yes. What I have done in a very lighthearted way is with a friend, we are sort of writing an epistolary, I don't want to call it a novel. Right now it's just fun. We're playing parts in a story that we've sort of hammered out a little bit, but not a lot. And we're sort of having fun seeing what these characters say to one another. I'm playing Aunt Ruth, who is on a very luxurious cruise just before this thing starts. So the story is going to be getting Aunt Ruth home. But Aunt Ruth at first, of course, doesn't want to come home because she's kind of anti-Mame, wild, adventurous older woman who's loving the free vodka and the good-looking ballroom dancers on the ship. So we're doing that, and we're thinking of inviting other writers, and you can be Uncle Morty, you can be Sally, the Swami sister. You can. It could be really fun. Otherwise, I still have a podcast that I'm doing from home, which isn't nearly as it's not nearly as professional an operation as when I would do it in a studio with the engineer. Now the engineer is engineering from wherever he is. I'm here. My boyfriend is here hovering around me and driving me nuts. And it just, I feel I have to worry about how I look instead of just thinking about deep thoughts. But I'm still doing it, as a way to stay consistent, as a way to stay current, as a way to help people through. It's just another little bit of programming that you can count on every week if it's part of your listening diet. I mean, what are you guys doing? Or do you feel threatened in any way in Los Angeles? Do you feel scared?
I mean, at this point, not threatened. It's a little bit strange because I don't know if it's half, but a portion of the population is just kind of going about business as usual. I mean, we went to the beach a couple of weeks ago and thought, oh, no one's going to be there. It'll be nice to kind of have a distance stroll, and it was packed and everyone was out. We to the point where it's like, I think we're going to pass on this. So there's
closed, I think, as well out here.
Yeah, there's parts where young people congregate, like Fairfax.
The beaches are closed. Yeah.
Yeah, that people are kind of, denser than other places. But, we've been under quarantine or self-imposed quarantine for over 3 weeks now. And it's a thing, but we're not in New York in the sense that it's not apartments. It's more kind of a little bit more spread out.
You have a pool, you have a backyard, you have space.
Right.
And I'm sure you do too, Susan. But yeah, there's a feeling of being really sealed in here. And the weather will be getting nicer, of course, but It hasn't been very nice at all. We've had a very rainy, gray, cold March, endless March, and I did feel like I was hermetically sealed inside my apartment. It's different. You know what? For me, without a real job, only going to a studio once a week, it's not a huge sacrifice to stay home. I use the New York Times food app and I put in ingredients and voila, I've become, kind of more proficient at cooking than I thought I could be. And we have a lot of food. We have, a Pilates program that I can follow if I am inclined to. No, the answer is no. Right. And I held my face again. Did you see that?
I did, yeah. Have you noticed any weird cultural trends over the last few weeks? Or just what I've noticed. Okay, I'll tell you what I've noticed, and then to give you time to think about it. I don't think maybe one or two people, but almost everyone I know in their 20s, and I have a lot of friends in their 20s, have gone back to their parents.
Many have?
Yeah. In fact, I think I know one who hasn't. Which I wouldn't have done, I don't think, in my 20s if I was 27. I mean, yeah.
My 20-year-old, I have 3 children. I call them my exhibits. And my youngest one is in Brooklyn, and she refuses to come here. She refuses. Now, interestingly, I have begged her nonstop. Are you sure I could cook for you? You can have your room. I could cosset you with maternal love. And if I say that one more time, I don't think she'll ever call me again. She's grossed out.
Oh, wow. Okay.
She has friends who live near her, and I think she hunkers with them and goes between their house and her house. And she does not want to, but she's 23, and all her friends, I think many of her friends, have gone home to their parents, which is interesting. Which really is interesting. There's a really beautiful, and my other 2 kids live in LA, and not only are they not interested in coming here, but my son, who has a son, which makes me an aunt, he won't let his sister come and visit because of the baby. Now, I think we know that babies are really kind of immune from COVID-19, but nevertheless, everybody is being extremely careful. Other friends of mine who have children in their 20s and even in their late 20s and possibly with a 30, they are going home. And I think not in the city, though. They're going to their big house in Hudson County or the Hamptons, wherever. And they're going home to be with their parents. I think people are responding as if, everybody's saying it's a war, but as if this is an unsafe time. Oh, don't mind us. We're just having a show here while you slam the door. I think they are feeling like I have to be with my family in case I never see them again.
Yeah.
But there is a sense of who knows when we'll ever see one another in the flesh. I mean, I don't know. My nephew will be turning 1 in the first week of May, and we had plans to go visit and come out for his first birthday, but I don't think I want to fly anywhere, anytime. I don't know. What about you? Are people flying to places, to home or for work? I don't think people are flying anywhere, right?
No.
Not from our end. One thing that will probably be a future cultural trend is that I'm sure there'll be a lot of screenplays coming out in the next year.
Oh yeah.
Here in LA, everyone wants to share their COVID experience.
Yeah. Yes. You know what I think also? I had the thought that probably, I'm trying to think of what was the definitive crazy experience. I think it was World War II. I would hear from my grandmother and maybe even my mom about World War II and how, yeah, they were rationed. And I'd find things in the basement like ration books or.
Oh my God, I have those out in New York. I have all my, from Connecticut, like New Canaan. Really, I mean, it shouldn't make me laugh, but they're New Canaan
Mayo
ration books.
We can't find any mayo, God damn it. Anyway, so
they got
those, and also I found dance cards and I found charm bracelets, but charm bracelets that had not beautiful things, implements like shovels and scissors, and I guess nobody was thinking escapist. They were thinking, I got to sew, I've got to dig, I've got to plant. But I have a feeling that.
Very New Deal.
Yeah, exactly. Very New Deal. But I have a feeling, Zach, that Mickey and Simon and all the babies of now who won't really remember this, but will know that they lived through it. This will be the story that even, in 30 years, we'll be saying, oh, yeah, I'll tell you exactly where I was during the pandemic. I think this will be the story that will follow us forever because it's so unprecedented.
Well, we have such access to media as well. So we're constantly, instead of looking at the Wall Street Journal or the New York Times or whatever it is, one reads the LA Times, once a day when you get it in print, you're like constantly refreshing multiple times a day, or maybe we all sign off on that now.
I agree. It's like biting your nails or something. It's a bad habit. I shouldn't do it. I shouldn't touch my face. That was 5. But yet I want to. And that want to is, okay, I'm just going to see how many people died in the last hour. I mean, it's grim. It's not helping.
Well, I would say, so you mentioned Mickey, who's my son, and Simon, who's your nephew, and, the children who come of this time, who are raised during this time. I think there is a silver lining to it all, and that's quarantine or the lockdown, whatever you want to call it.
Family
closeness and a familial unit, hopefully in a positive way. Can't speak for everyone, but that sense of kind of being close to family during this time, I'm hoping will at least generate some sort of positive outcome associated with parents being closer to their children, potentially their parents, siblings, friends. This is a time of need, and hopefully it'll foster empathy and connection amongst people.
I think that's true. I heard from a friend whose kids are always traveling for work and they can't travel for work, so they're actually spending daytime that isn't the weekend when they have to recharge themselves. I think people with school-age children are exhausted and are finding that teaching a kid all day is unbelievably difficult work. I think that actual phone calls, are being made more. People want to hear one another's voice. Really, how are you? As opposed to something, oh, look, somebody wrote something to you.
I thought I would just share that.
They have, you young people. Hi, Katie, you look young. Everybody looks young. While I touch my face. I think family becomes more important. Look at my Cuomo boys. I say my because I'm in New York.
We get it.
But look at that example of brothers, both in public, both in the front line. I think there's a real appreciation of family. I could be wrong. People may be getting sick of one another.
Yeah, we should check in on that in like 3 months.
Yes, or maybe one of your young people could communicate with us and say that. There's this really great letter. There's this really great essay that I found online that I posted or will be posting on my podcast and in my blog tomorrow at lisabirnbach.com.
Okay, we will share that. I'm going to type it. Well, okay.
Okay, and thank you. And it's from an Italian novelist named Francesca Melandri. And she says, basically, I am writing to you from your future because I'm 3 weeks ahead of you in this. Thank you. In this process. She said, you will eat a lot. You will join all these social networking groups. You will never have used WhatsApp, Snapchat, Instagram, whatever, Twitter, Facebook as much as you will now. You will never sign up for more self-improvement programs. You will find exercise classes. You will say that you will learn a language, write a book, learn to bake, learn whatever. And you won't do any of those things. And then she said, basically, lots of different things about fear and about patience. And then she said, one thing I can tell you, when this is all over, people will go to sleep saying, the first morning I can get out, I'm filing for divorce. And some people will say, oh my God, I'm pregnant. And she said, but life will never be the same again. And that's the thing that I think about a lot. You know, I thought life was pretty shitty under Donald Trump before coronavirus. And yes, we were able to have good times together and we were able to make good memories. And, you know, there are a lot of wonderful things happened in the last 3 years, but did we ever think that this was a good time? No, not, well, I shouldn't answer for you. I did not at all. I thought this is a terrible time and I can't wait till it's over. But now that terrible time in retrospect is going to look like pretty good time because even as we get better and this disease and the vaccine is developed and people can get well and not be afraid of it, will we go to movie theaters the way we did, you know, casually? I don't know. You want to go to the movies? I don't know. Will people still gather in groups of hundreds to go to a theater, to a concert, to a museum? Will we be able to enjoy life in the same lighthearted way when it was lighthearted? What do you think?
I think it'll be pretty, I imagine it would be different geographically. I mean, I think New York is going to be really, it's in an exceptional position right now. And the fact that folks are there, it is the epicenter, and the fact that people there do live so closely together, it's pretty different, I think, than many other corners of the country. So I would imagine, you know, the effects on people will be a little bit different, right? On whether people are gather or not.
I don't know. Do you think people in LA, after, you know, you get your apex, as they call it, do you think you'll all want to go to the movie theater or
well, I mean, the thing I worry about is where are they going to take their screenplays? I mean, that's the issue. But you know, in all earnestness, I would imagine that we will come out of this with a collective trauma that everyone is experiencing in their own way. Most people, I can't speak for everyone, but I'd imagine that everyone has some sort of trauma associated with this. Again, sorry, most people. But to manage and treat that trauma is going to be something that we're going to have to figure out, both on an individual basis and collectively. And there's going to be all sort of neuroses and
PTSD.
Yeah, phobias, and we just, being mindful that this is a collectively traumatic event. I think needs to be established as top of mind. Not necessarily now. I think for now it's really about figuring out how we can be of support and help both for frontline healthcare clinicians, but also the impacted individuals, people who've experienced death or sickness, people of family members and friends of those who've experienced death and sickness or experienced sickness themselves. And I think that's something that we're going to have to be addressing not only as a nation, but on a global basis.
You know what? I think we should look in on the mental health professionals that we know, because I remember I had a TV job on CBS during and after 9/11. And at some point I did, I interviewed a bunch of psychiatrists and psychologists, because New York again was hurting, and everything you wanted to talk about, food, relationships, nursery school, shopping, whatever it was, it all had some tentacle to this disaster that happened in New York. And New Yorkers were very shaken. It was very rare that somebody didn't know somebody who had died or almost died at 9/11. And I thought it would be good to check in with the shrinks. And the shrinks were really having a hard time, because after 6 hours of hearing people pouring out their hearts, crying, sad, traumatized, they needed somebody to help them. And, we expect certain people to be resilient all the time or wise all the time or have the answers, but they're human too. And it would be interesting to see, how it works for them. I assume that most of them are seeing patients remotely, as we are talking. And, maybe it's easier because they're sitting in their favorite chair, or their 20-year-old kid is lying by their feet, or, Was that me? No.
That was me.
But it gave me a chance to touch my face again. So.
What are you, let's start with you, Lisa. What are you doing to soothe yourself right now? Cook, sounds like.
Cook, drink, cook. Oh, we watched Tiger King, because we are copycats. We are followers. We'd heard that people were talking about it. Have you seen it?
No.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was an escapist 7 hours of my life I'll never see again.
Yeah, it's something else. It's first off, I imagine if there is a Halloween this year, if it's not canceled or
canceled, right,
done remotely, I'd imagine a lot of Joe Exotics and Carol Baskins out there. We're talking about dressing up our son Mickey as a baby tiger.
He has to be a baby tiger.
Yeah,
a snow tiger, whatever they're called, because he's so light. Yeah.
He's a very blonde, blue-eyed baby. The Tiger King. I mean, the funny thing is the line between I don't want to call it fact or fiction, but just what's real and what's kind of surreal has been totally blurred in the past year. And so there's a lot of stuff that's happened that doesn't feel like it could be made up.
Including our president. Including particularly our president. I mean, really. I mean, if your father or my father heard that Donald Trump had become president, they would think that we were playing a cruel joke on them. There's no way.
I mean, he would, you know, Dad would have had a field day. There's no doubt about that. I mean, just the amount of ridiculousness in the news every day it's just like it's unparalleled. It might be unprecedented. It's just the absurdity of day-to-day life right now.
Well, and also what would have, I can't seem to find a place to sit. What would have really pissed him off was the hypocrisy. And sometimes when, you know, I see Mitch McConnell saying, well, anything, but especially, you know, when he vowed to get Brett Kavanaugh through after vowing never to approve a justice under Obama, I just think, oh, wait, my circuits are on fire. My synapses touched it again. You two are masters. What is it?
I got my hands on it, not in purpose, but a habit from growing up in Scotland without gloves, because keep your head.
You were cold.
Yeah,
you grew up cold.
I grew up freezing without central heating, so it's very, very useful at a time like now.
Oh, that is very good. And what's your secret, Zach?
I touch my face and suddenly I'm a sensitive guy. I'm a very sensitive guy. I touch my face, it breaks out. I just need to resist.
Zach, what are you doing in your household? What are you guys doing over there that you might not normally do, just to sort of, those little luxuries?
Hey, well, I'll tell you one thing, and I never thought I'd do this. I literally never thought I'd do this, but taking moments at the dinner table when we're eating dinner, moments of appreciation, sitting down and talking about our day.
Nice. That's
saying,
nice.
What happened today that we appreciate? Because
did you think it was cheesy beforehand?
Oh man, yeah, I did. I think, but now I've become, now as a new dad and everything, I've become a total cheeseball.
Yeah.
So it's sappy and I like doing it at this point. I have to say, because there's a whole lot of weirdness and ridiculousness, and just to kind of identify the good things that are happening has been super key. I am so unbelievably thankful of my friends and family at this point.
You know what? I think it's kind of my generation's fault that you guys think it's cheesy and sappy. Somehow we made that bad. But appreciation and gratitude are really great things to keep in mind. And good for you. Good for you, because who knows what the future holds. But if you had a great day and your wife and baby had a great day, what more do you want? Plus, you like uni.
Plus, indeed, I like uni. I like sea urchin, and we splurged last week. Two weeks ago, I ordered sea urchin and I made it at home because I could. But also, the thing that I found interesting is that just recognizing the privilege of it all, to be in a position where we're home, but got electricity, have water, have a situation where you can get deliveries, fresh food, things like that. And, as you kind of hit moments of scarcity or moments of deprivation, it just makes those little things all that much more appreciated. So I'm coming, or I don't know if I'm going to come out of this with the same mindset, but right now I'm feeling really thankful of all the things that I do have. And I try to practice that consistently, because if I don't, it's very easy to just be resentful, being like, screw that, this all sucks, what's it all for? I mean, it's water in the end. And I just feel like taking that lens of saying, hey, there are things to be grateful and thankful for that have been that I might have taken for granted in an extreme way prior that I'm starting to really acknowledge right now.
I'm excited for mail, for my post, in a way that I haven't been for many, many years. I'm not scared of opening up my post. Maybe I should be, but it doesn't scare me at all. And I moved not too long ago, so my post is following me. And I found myself in bed yesterday. I don't get any catalogs, but I appear to get one catalog that's forwarded to me. It's the LL Bean catalog. And I found myself in bed reading the LL Bean catalog, something I haven't done since there I go, touching my face. Since I was a child, and I would crawl in bed next to my mother, and nothing has changed. And there's such comfort in something that hasn't changed at all, right? I was like, yeah, it's the exact same. And I possibly might need the lumber jacket, or,
You just don't know. You might need it. Yeah. I too. I got my LL Bean catalog last week, and I did.
More catalogs. I want more now.
Time in a long time, I picked it up and didn't toss it. I thought, yeah. I think in some ways, as people, we will be stronger because we've had to be more of a community for people.
I want to show you guys something. I'll be right back.
It's almost like Thanksgiving, when suddenly you can invite people who are on their own, and you feel you can't invite people to your house now, but you can look in on them in various ways, and that makes them feel cared for and remembered. And
yeah, I mean, the thing, I'm curious to get your take on what the future will bring. It's a question that I'd like to consistently ask our guests, and what do you think this will all lead to?
Well, I do think, on the plus side, this may help us convince a great deal of our fellow Americans that science is important. I'm hoping that science gets its due now. Mm-hmm. Secondly, I think it's going to improve our relationships, because we're getting the connection, the dopamine and the good chemicals that we get from one another are vital for our success and longevity. So I'm hoping that I think we're appreciating one another in a way. I mean, the way you say oh my God, why don't I just keep it right there? The way you say you are expressing and needing to express your gratitude at night seems to me a symptom of what's going on, a good symptom. And I think that I just feel like people are saying, I love you more. How bad could that be?
Yeah.
I think we're all, in a way, sadly, it's almost like, well, in case I don't see you again, I just want you to know I love you. But I don't think that is going to be the case. I don't think we're saying goodbye, I love you. I think we're saying, I love you. I may not see you for a while in person.
I've had so many people check in with me, not so many, maybe at least one, a college friend, to see if I'm lonely during the day. I have worked at home alone for the last 22 years. And I'm like, I love that after 22 years,
people get what you do.
Someone suddenly cares.
That is nice. You see?
It's like, finally, you care.
And also, finally, they understand that one can work from home.
I mean, I'm exhausted not exhausted. I mean, it's lovely, but I've been dressing myself for a long time for myself during the day. So that's not new. And the constant video calls. Again, for 22 years, it's been pretty quiet. Now I have a lot of them, but my work hasn't changed. I'm still very, very busy on the work front, but I can barely schedule them all.
Well, I remember in the 80s, people would call me and I'd say, I'm really writing. Could I call you back? And they'd say, okay, but I just wanted to ask you about blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
And people never understood that working from home actually meant working.
Yeah.
But maybe people get it now. I don't know. I think they do.
Yeah.
I will say one thing that I've noticed that's happened across the board is just memes are everywhere, right?
You know who I'm speaking to tomorrow is, and I need to go bone up on memes between now and then, is Taylor Lawrence. That is going to be our our
wonderful.
Yeah, at the New York Times, and I feel like she's ground zero for memes. So yeah, send me any, Zach, that I should be paying attention to.
I can send you some, both good and bad and ugly.
There are a lot of talking dogs.
The thing that I found was interesting was there was information coming out of Italy, and I remember one specific warning, and that was, first we had our meme stage. That's when memes were everywhere. Memes were being shared, and then it got really bad. And so I'm wondering where we're at in that spectrum. Are we still in the meme stage, or are things getting worse and worse, and we're just the frogs in the water?
Oh, that's funny. I think the memes for this particular crisis have been on the pretty sophisticated side, other than all the dogs that are talking. I've seen a lot of talking dogs who are saying, ruff, 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 this is shit. I hate having my father here or whatever. You know, they're all very irritated. They're all inspired by, who is the dog? Conan had that hostile dog who smoked a cigar.
Oh yeah. What was his name?
It's really Robert Smigel, but
it's oh man, tip of the tongue.
Yeah, tip of the tongue. Anyway,
he's good.
There are a lot of dog memes, but there've been it's meme time. So is this the coming to the top of the mountain meme?
Are we peak meme? Is that the
peak meme? Are we peak meme?
I think we've got a little ways to go before we hit peak meme. You know, the thing is, you have these cultural events that accelerate. One was a certain porn star that's been circulating around, a meme associated with him.
I feel like I'm so culturally out of it.
Oh,
I've been like reading. I was going to show you my first edition of Joy of Cooking. I've been like,
I can fill you in.
Fill me in between now and tomorrow.
You know, there's the Fauci and Trump memes. You know, they're
yeah. There's some. Yeah, don't you wonder who? I mean, ask Taylor, of course, how they start and how they spread. They're not all good, but yet there's a great one. Have you seen the one of the Italian man on a Vespa driving down a dirt road in Italy and asking a farmer what time it is?
No.
Okay, I will be sending that to you. You will send it to Susan. I don't even know.
By the way, this is the podcast right here. Is just a podcast of people just describing memes.
It's extremely meta. We should wrap up. Thank you so much for joining us, Lisa. Something cheery, something you're looking forward to, even if it's like getting something written over the next couple of days. What are you cooking?
Oh, I will be cooking a chicken Milanese tonight.
Can I come for dinner?
Absolutely.
Very jealous.
But also, I am looking forward to taking more steps in the sunlight in New York as the days get warmer.
And the bulbs are going to come up very soon in the park.
Yes, they are. And I have my black rubber gloves, and I plan to go out and enjoy nature.
It's going to be beautiful.
I also want to say, hi, nature. We get it. You are the boss.
Yeah.
That's something good to remind ourselves of. What about you? What are you going to do, Susan, to yourself?
You go first, Zach.
I'm going to go eat breakfast at Cantor's.
Yeah.
That's big on my list. Beach would be nice. Sorry.
I'm gonna read, which I'm gonna spend some time outside. I sort of live. It's a lovely area where I live, but it always feels like a war zone. It's very industrial, so I don't worry about being around anyone else really when I'm outside. So I will certainly get some fresh air. But one of our salons next week that we've just booked is going to be on a topic that I'm fascinated by. And so I'm going to read up on that over this weekend on kidnapping and the business of ransoms. Yeah. So it's
what are you suggesting?
So that'll be Tuesday's topic, folks, kidnapping and the business, the tidy business of ransoms. So I'm looking forward to learning more about that. Yeah. Cool. Yeah. So thank you so much for joining us, Lisa. Thank you, Zach.
Nice to meet you, Susan. Zach, as always, great to see you.
Yeah, Zach, you will connect us. I want to show her what I wrote without knowing her.
Yes, I would love to see that.
Yeah. So both of you have a great afternoon. And folks who are watching, please share this. And Lisa, you can share this right now. It's live. And so we'll send you the links to where this is.
Okay, great. I will put it on my website and bring you a whole new, older audience.
Demographic. That sounds wonderful. Great. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.